Hello and welcome. This week was an all-age service with Paul Noyce exploring the section of the Lord's Prayer on Your Kingdom Come, Your Will Be Done. For those attending in person, this was a very interactive service with making flags, and then later on, setting off party poppers. As a last request, I'm interested to know how you found this podcast. Was it via the church's website, our YouTube channel, the podcast playlist, or a Facebook post? Thanks in advance. God bless. See you next time.
You know how phrases like singing happy birthday or reciting a pledge just become like invisible autopilot noise? Well, the same thing actually happens to ancient texts. So welcome to today's deep dive, where our mission is to analyze an audio excerpt from a recent sermon that takes a magnifying glass to the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, specifically stripping the familiarity away from the line, your kingdom come, your will be done. Because the source frames this ancient text not as just, comforting background noise, but as a really radical two-step process.
Right, which is intense internal submission followed by explosive external action.
Exactly. The speaker treats this as incredibly gritty, practical theology. Yielding control isn't presented as some airy, abstract concept.
Right. It means actively handing over the ultimate decision-making seat in your daily life.
Yeah, completely. It's about practical control.
Okay, let's unpack this, because handing over that seat feels, well, to me, it's like giving the steering wheel of your car to a friend. Like, they're a better driver, but as you're going down the highway, you just can't stop reaching across the center console to yank the wheel back anyway.
That is such a good analogy, and what's fascinating here is how the sermon illustrates that exact tension. They use this humorous skit featuring a woman named Kat.
Oh, yeah, the video where she formally offers that decision-making seat up, right?
Right, but literally seconds later, she's like, plotting to secretly use a new credit card to hide debt from her husband.
Oh, wow. So she just takes the wheel right back.
Yeah, she uses the pressure of her daily life as a shield against actual submission. The underlying premise the speaker is making is that true surrender requires yielding control over the highly practical daily things. I mean, managing your finances, your temper, or, even what you consume on social media.
To drive that home, the sermon actually forces the congregation to physically construct literal white flags using, like, paper, glue sticks, and straws. But wait, I'm stuck on this white flag imagery.
Oh, how come?
Well, a white flag is universally recognized as a symbol of crushing defeat, right? So how does the speaker justify flipping an emblem of losing into, positive spiritual victory?
Well, by taking a high-minded theological concept and making adults literally glue a flag together, it creates this tactile cognitive dissonance. It forces the brain to translate an abstract spiritual idea into a physical reality.
Okay, I can see that, making it real.
Right, and the speaker argues that personal surrender, waving that flag over your own ego and agenda, is the absolute prerequisite for external impact. You cannot ask for divine intervention in someone else's life if your own isn't submitted first.
Right, the defeat of your ego is required to make room for that broader victory.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because staying in that state of surrender isn't the end goal, right?
No, not at all. It's actually just the loading screen, so to speak, for what the sermon argues is an explosive external impact. The sermon points to Acts chapter 12 to illustrate this.
Ah, that's the story of Peter miraculously escaping King Herod's prison, right?
Exactly. And the servant girl is so shocked she leaves him locked outside. But the speaker bypasses the basic Sunday school plot to focus on the catalyst for that escape.
Which is the intense, earnest prayer of the early church.
Yes, and to symbolize the sheer kinetic power of that kind of prayer for others, whether for healing, a new job, or global news, the congregation actually sets off literal party poppers right there in the room.
Wait, really? Party poppers inside? That creates such a jarring juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Like waving a fragile paper flag of surrender and then detonating a party popper.
It really does. It compares prayers for others to an explosive force released into the world.
It forces you to look at how often you might recite familiar phrases without realizing the radical shifts from a white flag to a party popper that those words demand.
Right, because the source insists those two elements are inextricably linked. I mean, the explosive power of the party popper strictly requires the prior surrender of the flag.
You just don't get the external impact without the internal defeat. which leaves you with a fascinating tension to chew on. If personal surrender is the strict prerequisite for explosive external change, what happens when a community tries to skip that uncomfortable white flag stage and go straight for the party poppers?